How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is running its excellent spring sale right now, and if you didn't see our last video, I did mention how you can get PSN credit a little bit cheaper right now, so definitely go take advantage of that if you're interested, but there are a ton of great deals available across this sale, and do bear in mind that there are going to be more deals probably cycling in 2 weeks, or a week and a half at this point, but nevertheless, got a lot of deals under the price of $10 to go over in this video, so let's get right into it, and let's start things off with Dishonored 2, which is 80% off for $5.99. Dishonored 2 is a fantastic game. I do recommend you to play Dishonored 1 first, but Dishonored 2 builds upon the successes of Dishonored 1. You've got 2 playable characters as well, so that does extend the replayability of the game a bit. You can really tackle Dishonored how you want to. You can go more action-heavy, or, you know, most people that I talk to seem to find the more stealthy approach more satisfying to the gameplay style of Dishonored, but again, that makes the game a little bit more replayable, so you have, you know, different ways that you can actually play the game. I think for $6, it's a great deal. Definitely go check it out, and it's not a super lengthy game, but it definitely does have a bit of length to it, so, you know, for this price, I think it's a great buy. Next up, Castle Crashers Remastered, 60% off for $5.99 as well. This is a game that's actually held up in price a little bit more than I would have expected. If you, like, buy Castle Crashers on PC, you could usually find it for sub $5 easy, maybe even like sub $4, but still for $6, it's a great buy. Just bear in mind with Castle Crashers, I strongly recommend this being a game that you do have a group of people to play with. You can play the game solo, but it's just not the same. Like, Castle Crashers was designed with co-op play in mind, and that's really how you're going to get the best experience. It's got a great art style that's aged really well with that more, you know, cartoony, vibrant look, but it's just a really fun game to go through with a couple of buddies. So $6, if you can convince a couple other friends to pick it up, I think you'll have a great time with it. Next up, definitely want to give a shout out to Assassin's Creed Syndicate, which is 70% off for $8.99. This game had a lot of issues on PS5 until recently, where a lot of that has been remedied. I mean, mostly it was a lot of visual bugs and whatnot, and that has been remedied, so, you know, you can play this game. It doesn't have a PS5 upgrade or anything like that, so that's a little bit of a bummer, but AC Syndicate is a super underrated game, in my opinion. It came out the year after AC Unity, and I think people were just scarred after AC Unity that they kind of took it out on Syndicate, and unfortunately Syndicate didn't do that well commercially, and then you saw what Ubisoft did with Assassin's Creed as a whole. They kind of shifted the entire focus of the franchise, and it's a totally different style of game. Syndicate was kind of the title that took it out of, it was the last title that was in the old Assassin's Creed style. The game is available through Plus Extra. I think it's really good, really great main character, gigantic open world as well, so a lot to do in the game. For $9, it is a pretty good buy. Next up, we got Risk of Rain 2, 75% off for $6.24. Another game that I would recommend you to play cooperatively, but this is a game that's super replayable, and it is very addicting. I remember when Risk of Rain 2 initially was in early access, and I tried it out on PC. Kind of got infuriated with the game, and then I, like, uninstalled the game, and then I immediately reinstalled the game, and then, yeah, you just get addicted to the game. You want to do runs over and over again. It's been updated quite a bit, so $6.24, again, if you have a couple buddies that you can play it with, by all means, check it out. But unlike Castle Crashers, I feel like this is a game you can play solo, more so than Castle Crashers, where Castle Crashers, I really feel like it's almost essential that you do have a group to play that game with. Although with Risk of Rain 2, I do think it's beneficial. Next up, BioShock The Collection, 80% off for $9.99. It's BioShock 1, BioShock 2, and BioShock Infinite in one collection. All 3 games are really good. BioShock 2, most people will agree, weakest of the 3. I think most people will say that BioShock 1 is the best. I personally loved BioShock Infinite, and I get it. That's sometimes, like, kind of a hot take. Like, I know people that didn't vibe with BioShock Infinite as much as I did, but I love the change of scenery. I love the setting to that game. I think the gameplay was incredibly great for a first-person shooter, and I just really dug BioShock Infinite as a whole. BioShock 1 is really good, no qualms about that. BioShock 2, in my opinion, is kind of underrated, even though it's not at the level of BioShock 1 or Infinite. Still a really good game. To get all 3 for $9.99, obviously no-brainer, great pickup there. Next up, Burnout Paradise Remastered, 70% off for $5.99. Love me some Burnout Paradise Remastered. I played this all the way back in January of 2008 when it initially came out. Loved it back then, and absolutely, you know, you're talking over 15 years later, it absolutely shows its age, but it's still a solid arcade racer with a great soundtrack. Like, you know, music, as far as licensed music goes, it's gonna be a little bit subjective as far as which music you really vibe with, but I thought Burnout Paradise had a great soundtrack. Obviously, super fast-paced, a lot of crashes, a lot of content as well. And overall, just thought it was a really good game for $6. Again, no-brainer there, really good pickup there. Next up, we got Tales of Berseria, 60% off for $7.99. An excellent JRPG, and for a lot of people, this is one of their favorite Tales of titles. It definitely has one of the most compelling Tales of main characters in Velvet. You know, more of a darker narrative to Tales as a whole as well. The rest of the cast is really good. Gameplay is what it is. It's kind of your standard Tales fare. Has a good bit of content. $8 for it, I think, is a great buy. And if you do, you know, want to get into the Tales of franchise, I would probably say Arise is your best bet. That's the latest release in terms of, you know, outside of the Symphonia Remastered. But Berseria is a good one as well, given that it's much cheaper than Arise, but $8 for that, really good there. Next up, Catherine Full Body, 75% off for $9.99. Definitely a quirky title that is super narrative driven, although it does have some pretty unique puzzle-based gameplay as well. The Full Body edition does include another entirely new route to go, so definitely adds a new layer there. Wasn't hot about the price points of the game. You know, when it came out, it was $49.99, which I thought was a little bit too much. At $9.99, obviously, my feelings are going to change quite a bit. I loved Catherine when it initially came out, all the way back in like 2010. But now, at $9.99 for an upgraded version of it, it's quirky. It's definitely not for everybody, but if you want a game that's also super narrative-driven and you want to play with, let's say, your significant other, this is a good one in terms of they can just watch you play the game, and they'll probably be relatively engaged as well. Definitely an over-the-top story, but $9.99, I think, is a good buy on that. Next up, we have Vampyr, 80% off for $7.99. This game really surprised me. It was done by Don't Nod Entertainment, who also did Life is Strange, and this game definitely is a little lackluster from a gameplay standpoint, but I thought the atmosphere, the ambiance, and the narrative, all those elements were really strong. The gameplay, I don't think is bad by any stretch of the imagination. It's just really average. I thought the main character was compelling. I thought the voice acting was great. $7.99 I think is a great buy for it. It is available through Plus Extra, so you can play it that way. Next up, we got XCOM 2 The Collection, 90% off for $9.99. XCOM 2 is a fantastic tactics-based title that definitely, you know, has some technical issues as far as its PS4 release goes, but it's still playable and it works well with the DualShock controls. The Collection is the route that I recommend because it's got a lot of bonus content. You're talking War of the Chosen, and you're talking a bunch of other, you know, minor DLC packs, but War of the Chosen really does extend the game a lot. If you're remotely into tactics games, or it's a genre you want to delve into, I think XCOM's a really good one to check out. Unfortunately, you can't really play Enemy Unknown on PS4, which is a little bit of a bummer, but yeah, that game was great on PS3 as well. But $9.99 for XCOM 2 The Collection, really good buy there. Next up, we have .hack GU Last Recode, $9.99 here, but if you do have a PlayStation Plus subscription, you'll save an additional 10% for $4.99, and that is a disgustingly good deal. This includes all three of the .hack GU titles that released on the PlayStation 2, upgraded, and it includes a fourth smaller episode as well. Back in the day, in the PS2 days, we were dropping $40 a pop, I believe it was. It might have even been $50, but we were paying premium to get each of those games. Now the fact is, you get the entire collection, you get it upgraded, and you get a bonus episode for $4.99. That's just insane to think about. Obviously, we're like a decade and a half removed from when these games came out on the PS2, but nevertheless, $5 for this entire collection is great. Definitely shows its age, some stiff animation, some wonky voice acting, but overall the narrative is really good. Gameplay is solid, a lot of redundancy in the environments and the areas you go to, but overall still very good, and $5, a no-brainer there. Next up, we have Greek Memories of Azure, $7.99 without a Plus subscription, $5.99 with. Great art style here, really enjoyable side-scrolling action platformer. You have a variety of different characters to use, and you kind of have to utilize all of their abilities and whatnot. Great art style, enjoyed the game. Definitely not blow away, but I think at $5.99 it's a pretty good pickup, and I would give it a look. Next up, Batman Arkham Collection, 90% off for $5.99. This includes Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight with the DLC. This is a ridiculously good collection for the price. The Arkham games are tremendous. I'm not even a big Batman guy. I mean, I watched the movies, I've played all the Arkham titles, and they're fantastic. And this collection, if you've never played the games, maybe you played them on PS3, whatever, and you want to revisit them, this is a great way to do so. Arkham Asylum and Arkham City still hold up so well, even being north of a decade old. They're just fantastic action titles, and really, you know, those were some of the first games that changed the perception of how superhero games were, you know, just were in general. A lot of superhero games pre-Arkham were not very good, but Arkham Asylum, I feel like, really changed the perception on that quite a bit, but $6 for that is great. Middle-earth: Shadow of War, 85% off for $8.99. Great open-world action-adventure title. A lot of content here with the Definitive Edition as well. The base game, I believe, is in Plus Extra, but the Definitive Edition does get you the bonus content. Good story. Definitely would recommend you to play Shadow of Mordor first, but Shadow of War, really solid pickup, especially at that price. And lastly, I want to give a shout to A Way Out, 80% off for $5.99. This is a co-op only title. You can only play this game cooperatively, but if you buy the game, you can invite a friend to play the game with you for free. So I like how Hazelight and EA did that with A Way Out and It Takes Two. Really good narrative-driven title, twists and turns throughout the story, and a game that's relatively engrossing from a story standpoint, and it's not too lengthy, so if you just want to jump in, you know, play a game over a weekend with a buddy, A Way Out is definitely a good one. It is available through EA Play as well. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a ton of great deals in this spring sale right now. Links to everything that I mentioned in this video in the description box below. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. That's going to do it for me. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.